live from the car, dropping the daughter off at school, and I'm sure you got, what, 4 hours of sleep last night?
Did you get yelled at for going the wrong way in the pickup line or what?
No, we get the park here. So we get the park and then drop her off. So I have to walk her in every day.
That's nice.
No, I barely got any sleep. She woke up at 4 in the morning right when I got home. So I didn't get to bed till like 6. So it's now it's nap time today.
Hopefully you guys are off today. I imagine with the game tomorrow, the home opener tomorrow.
Yeah, we are off today. It's nice.
All right, nice. We'll let you get a nap here after the show.
Big game tomorrow.
Let me ask you a question, Pat. Love to get your point of view on this, but we're talking about Steven Stamkos, right? And I just kind of got done talking about how I have no worries in the world that he's gonna, be a stud in Nashville. But I did bring up sort of the human element of it. This guy who's been in one place his entire career, and he's used to the same set of circumstances for the longest time. And I'm just trying to remind people that this is a human being that we've, kind of turned his world upside down now, and he's in a new place. And not that he can't adjust, but I think giving him a little bit of an adjustment period is pretty reasonable when you think about it all from that angle.
100%. I still players still need to get adjusted and like understand like who they're playing with, and home, there's new things going on. Kids are at new schools. You're in a new place. I mean, there's so many moving parts that just go with the hockey player besides the game of hockey. And I think most importantly, on the ice is, try to find chemistry early on. I mean, he's probably been used to playing with so many players, but certainly Cooch and Point and Cirelli and these guys that he's been playing with over the years, and Hagel the last few years. So like, there's got to be a time and where he's, probably knows it himself too. It's probably going to take a little bit of time for him to adjust, but he's a true professional, unbelievable guy. He's going to figure it out. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that guy does not score 35 to 40 goals again like he did last year. I mean, he's an elite player. He's a even better person, and veteran player like himself. Those are guys that always figure it out. Not everyone's going to start off hot. I mean, he's only 3 games into the season, so you got to give him a break. I mean, and I don't think he's struggling himself. I think the team is struggling off the bat, to start the season here.
Well, Pat, I know we're still new to each other, but I overreact a lot in this show, and I think Nashville season's over. So 0-3 start. They're done. I mean, they're done. Write them off. Stammer's scoring no more than 20 goals this year.
You're insane.
I'm calling Nashville done. I'm kidding, by the way. Totally kidding. But something that we've been talking about a lot the past couple shows, Pat, is this whole dilemma with goalie interference. And I know it hasn't really been that prevalent with you guys particularly, but there are some calls around the league where we are just so unsure of what goalie interference is. And I'm wondering if you guys are, maybe watching NHL Network in the morning around the rink or whatever, kind of looking at some of these calls and talking about it amongst yourselves. Has there been a conversation in the room with the players about what the hell you can do and can't do?
Actually, no, not really. But we've had we challenged a call in Edmonton, and it was Arvidsson that pushed Brody into Mrazek. So I think, the turn obviously was favor for us. But honestly, I don't know what it is, because I got called last year in Minnesota, the same thing, kind of like we were battling, but I shoved him. But the puck wasn't even in play at that time, and I scored, and he kind of like slid, and the goalie could have had time because the puck bounced, and the goalie would have had time to come back and play the puck, but he obviously didn't, because goalies scramble a little bit when they get hit. So I don't know. I'm hit or miss on it. I don't want to say anything to where the refs hate me, but I think for me, they could go both ways. I think consistency on what side, and how we can explain it better on that side of it, because I think sometimes we're all confused on if it's a call or not a call. So,
yeah. Well, I actually think, Pat, that it's gotten really soft in my opinion. Like, I think we're giving goalies way too much protection. And it's funny you brought up Mrazek. I love that Peter Mrazek is not a diver. Like Mrazek is actually a battler, not a diver, which I respect. And I feel like we don't have a lot of those guys. Now they know they can almost bump into you. Like they come and find you, bump into you, okay? And then they're drawing themselves penalties. So, you know, I would say that I feel like they are setting a standard right now, and it's just a really, really soft standard.
I mean, I agree. Like, I just think we need to hold everyone accountable in the situation. If either it's the player, the goalie, or, you know, the other player that's involved, it's like on the opposite team, you know? So, like, we got to figure out that kind of situation on, like, where we at in it, you know? Like, for me, I think we can all probably agree on, like, driving the net and them going to the net. I think you have momentum going that way. I don't think that should be goalie interference, but maybe I'm wrong on that.
No, I'm with you on that.
Yeah, I'm with you too.
I think, you know, if the player's playing the puck, he's going to the net, driving the net, he tries to make a move, and the goalie's on top of his crease. The player's he's trying to score, or he's trying to you know, create a scoring chance for himself. So I don't think he's planning on just trying to run the goalie over. I think he's trying to score. And that's where his momentum's taking him. So in that sense, I don't think that should be a penalty or goalie interference.
Pat, we have a funny comment in the chat from Clark Kellogg. He says, Pat, stop looking at us. We won't think you're rude if you keep your eyes on the road. So just want to be clear to drive safe over there.
We have a lot of Blackhawks fans that want to make sure you're getting safely from point A to point B. You know, I think we do have these people that they want to make sure you're in uniform, you know, whenever your next game is, if it's tomorrow or after.
But speaking of Blackhawks fans, we did have listener Old Sneaky Pete submit a question to me that he wanted to ask you. We have a lot of questions from our listeners, and I'll shout out Old Sneaky Pete, but he wants to know who the most serious and least serious guy in the locker room is on this year's group.
The most serious and unserious. Oh, that's a good question. Ooh.
Well, you don't really, the thing, Johnny, with this type of stuff is you're still kind of getting used to your guys. You haven't really necessarily seen them in all these moments yet. So I do feel like those questions can be a little bit tricky to answer early in the season, right, Pat?
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
No, we do. How about this for here while you're thinking? We have one of our listeners, Dave Singer. He's big. He does a lot of the Spit and Chicklets shows. He's tight. He just made a comment in the chat that was pretty funny. He said, Pat just dropped off Connor Bedard at school. that's actually a pretty good one.
I'm trying to think where like most serious, not so serious. Like, oh man, I mean,
could be you.
Maybe Bedard's the most serious. I heard they had to take his steel out of his skates to keep this kid off the ice. I think I saw Luke Richardson said something like that.
This can go either way, though, like intensity or like in-moment games or like all around just competitive seriousness. Like, you know, I don't know, competitor seriousness, Foligno. I mean, I would say, not so serious, but serious in the sense like that's a hard one to answer for me.
All right, like, we can move on.
Because I'm trying to think like not so serious in the room, like during the games, like loosening guys up and like trying to have fun with it.
Yeah.
I don't know, myself maybe. I mean, there's a lot of guys like Bertuzzi. Not Bertuzzi. What I say? Bertuzzi. Jesus Christ.
Now you're talking about. Now you're bringing Bobo over to the Chicago Blackhawks, but you know that's all right.
Because it's been a long night. Maybe it's been a long night.
You just saw him in Utah a couple of days ago, so your brain's probably still spinning a little bit from that. But what do you think of the Calgary Flames last night? Because I'll be honest with you, like, nobody in the world expected them to get off to the start that they got off to. I mean, I don't think any of us picked them better than being a lottery team. And, you know, so far, it seems like Jonathan Huberdeau and Rasmus Asplund are just leading the way out there in Calgary. And you guys took a tough loss to those guys. I think that was last night, right? Because you got home super late. What did you make of the Calgary Flames?
I thought they were really good. They kind of stuck in the structure. They played very simple. They just kind of stuck to to their game plan. They got good solid D back there. They got some great forwards up top, but I think for me, most importantly, like especially this time of year, like you can see, who's in structure, who's not, who's still kind of in summer hockey, and I think they're kind of in it. Like they played really well, and I thought honestly we've been playing pretty good. I thought last night, I thought we took it to them a little bit. I thought we had more zone time than them. I thought I think, a little more chances. They might have had a lot in the first there, but I thought we stuck with it. I thought we had a really good road trip. Honestly thought we could have walked away with at least 6 points this road trip. Obviously 5 would have been nice, last night in Calgary, but I thought Calgary played a solid, sound, structured game. They didn't really, try too much, kept it pretty simple. And when you do that, their skill guys kind of took it, in the ozone, took it in their own hands when they got it deep and kind of got moving around in motion.
Let me ask you this too, Pat. Going into the last game of a four-game road trip?
Yeah.
Is it hard? Because sometimes, I think about this personally when like picking a bet for the night and whatnot. I'm not asking about betting, but I think you take into account that it's a team's last game of a long road trip. They're probably thinking about getting home. Is it only human nature to let that creep into your mind sometimes when you've been on the road for, let's say 7 to 10 days?
I mean, it can, but I think for us, I'm sure for anyone, you want to try to steal 2 points. I know it's been a long road trip. Guys want to get home, but I don't think guys are kind of thinking about that. I think once we put our skates on, we're going. Obviously, it's human nature to think about that, and obviously fans or other spectators. But I think for us, we had such a good road trip going on there. I thought we had an opportunity to get 2 points there on the road again. Come home with 5 points, which would have been a huge road trip for ourselves. But I understand where you're coming from in that aspect of it, where that could creep into guys' minds towards the end of the road trip.
Colby says I'm a shitty bettor, but I take stuff like that into account, and that's why I'm pretty good at it.
But how's your record this year?
Well, McDavid doesn't want to shoot the puck, so we lost last night.
Okay. What are your early impressions of Connor Bedard, Pat? Because, you get a chance to see him from a distance last year. You get to be in training camp with him, obviously. Now you guys have just started the season on a road trip. I know on the road, guys are spending a lot of time together, which is why I think road trips in the beginning of the season can sometimes be a good thing. But just getting to watch him up close and personal on the ice now, competing in games. What are your early impressions? Anything really surprise you maybe or catch you off guard?
I think how he's like a true competitor. He competes, he works on his craft every single day, the way he works in practice, the way he stays after practice. Just the little things in his game that really come out to me is obviously offensibility, the way he can create offense by himself, the way he can make his line mates better. He creates opportunities from nothing, and I think that's unique in players. But he's going to be a tremendous player for us. He's going to have a big time year for us. I'm happy enough to get a front row seat for it this year. But we kind of just talked about with, the stars around the league, it's hard for these guys. There's so much pressure for these kids now to produce right out of the gate. If they don't produce, it's just what are they doing? I mean, we're only 3 games in or 4 games in. Give these guys time to really, it's his second season into the league. He has such a bright future, but his shot release is unbelievable. The way he can pull it in, the way he shoots it, the way he sees the ice, his vision, his tendencies, just the little things that he creates. But yeah, he's going to be a stud for a long, long time. So I'm really looking forward to him, not only himself, grow his game, and get it to the next level, grow his game where he probably thought some things that he didn't like last year, So I think there's little things like that, I'm sure he has a list of things that he wants to get better at that maybe he didn't have it last year, So I think for me, I get an opportunity to get a front row seat for that. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Pat, I only got one more for you before we let you go here and get to a nap because I know you're exhausted. But I know you only spent I know you only spent a little time in Minnesota last year. But are you a little salty that Philip Gustafson scored a goal before you this year?
Yeah, I'm a little salty.
A power play goal at that.
And we're tied for points.
Something tells me you'll get more points than him this year. If I was a bettor, which I'm really not, I'd feel pretty good about that bet, Pat. So stick with it, man. Something tells me you'll come out on the right side of that.
I do have one favor to ask though, Pat, for tomorrow night for the home opener. Mario Ferraro, left shot D, top pair for San Jose, is one of my really good friends. If you can scare the shit out of him in warm up and maybe in the first period, I would love that. So I'd really appreciate it.
Yeah, I can do that.
Pat, I'll say this and then we'll let you go here, but I am looking forward to having you on next week because I want to get your reaction to your first game at the UC because I do think the anthem, the crowd, like even when the team isn't good, the fan base shows up, man, and they do a nice job in the UC, and the anthem is one of the best I've ever heard. I always, when I was between the benches there, like I would have the chills listening to Jim Cornelissen get after the anthem. So I'll be interested to ask you about that next week to see what your what it feels like to be on the home side of that. I know you've been there and you've heard it, but I think now maybe it'll have a little bit of a different meaning.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Obviously, playing on the opposing team for a long period of time, listening to the national anthem, especially. I had the privilege to play against them in the conference finals when I was with the Ducks, and the anthem was just nuts. And the fans, the national anthem at itself, but the passionate city of Chicago and the fan bases, and I think they're one of the best in the league, if not the best. So I'm really looking forward to home opener night tomorrow night, and just packed United Center. Everyone's screaming the national anthem, everyone's clapping. So really looking forward to this moment. So I can't wait. So it's going to be a great year, and hopefully we can bring a lot of wins to the United Center this year.
What's up, hockey fans? If you enjoyed that video, then you need to be hitting the subscribe button right here at Daily Faceoff. Exclusive interviews and analysis from our hockey insider Frank Saravalli, fantasy updates from Brock Sagan, and a daily live show at noon Eastern, Monday through Friday. You don't want to miss any of the fantastic content, so hit that subscribe button.